Previously on the 348 project, after purchasing this Ferrari cheaply but sight unseen, I discovered upon its arrival that the car was in a pretty sorry state, needing a full restoration. The interior was literally falling apart, missing seats, dry leather, and anything left intact was badly sun faded. And when we looked at the engine, well, it only got worse. It was in a terrible state with some major components that had completely disappeared. But the bones of the car were good and it was all original, so I decided to restore it, stripping back the old paint and refinishing it with a fresh coat of Ratarossa. The interior was repaired, restored or retrimmed, and then it was time to start reassembling this 90s classic prancing horse. So today we've got a massive mission to complete on the 348. We've got some exterior to finish off, some interior trim, we've got to test some electrics, and then we've got to move on to the engine and figure out what we're going to do. First things first though, we've got to sort the gaping hole down here where there once was a very expensive side light until my conscience got the better of me. Now in the last video I told you about my complete disaster I had with this 348 side light. When I tried to save a wasp, I saved it, but in the process I dropped it and smashed the lens. The replacement on one of these was £6,000. Fortunately, thank you very much, many of you sent me a link to replacement lenses. Now you couldn't do that with these before, but I guess with the cost of these things as a replacement, we've now got lenses separately. So we're going to open it up, check it all out, and then replace the lens. And there we have it. That is a glass lens. It's got all of the correct markings on it. It's absolutely identical to the one that we now need to replace. First step was to take my scalpel and start performing some surgery, removing some of the old sealant. And next I'm going to take the heat gun and just slowly go around the outside of this. And there we go, that came out a lot easier than I thought. We're just going to clean up the edges here, give it a bit of a clean up inside, and then put the new lens in. So I'm just bonding the glass back in place. This is the final step here. I've got the clamps with the nice rubber pads there. So it's we're protecting it, we're taking no risks on this one. And I've just done this. We're going to leave it overnight to just set solid, and then job is done. New glass, old glass. Let's install it on the car. Now I'm going to take absolutely no risks this time. We're going to put a floor mat down there, protect it, and I'm going to do this very, very carefully. We're going to pop on that very expensive trim piece just to cover up the screws there, and then it's always tricky. There we go, a little wipe over, and look at that, job done at a fraction of the price. With the exterior of the car almost done, it's time to move on to the interior. Now we've got a few little bits to install here, including things like this, the center console. Now I've done something like this before in a previous 348 video. Now this was my old 348 from a few years ago, which was actually suffering much worse with the black sticky rubber. I painstakingly stripped all of that black goo back to bare plastic and then recoated it, which initially transformed that look of the center console, but there was a drawback. But I've had mixed results of it. It looks great on camera and it works for about a month, but then after that it starts to kind of peel off in your hands. So what I've decided to do is we're going to continue with this. We're going to check out the engine, we're going to check out the electrics on the car, and depending on the result, I might spend some money sending off that on other little trim pieces to make it perfect and have a proper durable finish. Now the interior of these 348s is a little bit like a jigsaw puzzle. It's all got to go back together in a certain order, and if it doesn't, well, it just doesn't work. That goes in there. There's no screws at all. It just sits in it like that. That goes like that. Now one of the nice things I like about this is it's got the coin holder, which is really rare, and it's actually in very good condition. So I'm going to put that in place. Now that we've got the centre console in place and all hooked up, I think it's time we see if anything actually works on this car. Something I haven't actually done at all. We've done all the body work, but we haven't seen. We know that this is not going to work because there's a lot of things missing, but does the electrics, does any of the dash, does the horn work on this? In order to do that, we're going to hook up a battery. Not the right one, but I've got one over there which will be okay for testing purposes. Now on these early cars, the battery sits over here, right at the back of the engine, but Ferrari changed the design on the later cars and put it over here. And the reason they did that was because of weight distribution. It was much better up front over here, but there was a bit of a drawback, which meant you had to remove the front wheel in order to access a panel over here to get to the battery. Now I had a 1994 Ferrari 348 Spider as one of my first Ferraris, and it was, well, at a time when I didn't really have a lot of space, so I had it in a single garage. If I remember rightly, the battery was over here and I had it tucked up right against the wall. The battery went flat and it meant that I had to get the car out of the garage in order to get to it. So I had someone sit in the car, I pushed it, and on my old house we had a driveway which had a slight slope. So when the back wheels got onto that slope, the car started to gain momentum, and the car was very, very close to the garage wall post over here. So I said, just move it, slow it down, and the car just carried on going faster and faster until, well, me jumping up and down saying stop, 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 didn't happen, and the car clipped the garage wall post just here and tore most of my bumper off. It was all hanging off at an angle like this, and I was like, what the heck happened? And apparently, unfortunately, instead of hitting the brake, they were hitting the clutch pedal. So a big mistake that was made, and a lesson learned with these, that might be the better weight distribution position, but it is an absolute pain and costs an absolute fortune if you get it wrong. So I'm very pleased our early 348 has still got the location over there because it's so much easier to access. All right, so here's what we're going to do. My battery doesn't fit down there, so I'm going to rest it up here. The positive terminal just about stretches there. I think that's seen a little bit better days. That needs a good clean up, or actually that needs to be changed. Now, this is my earth lead. I think we're missing something here. There should be something extra that hooks up to the battery, but for the meantime, I am just going to use this jump lead, connect it from there, and I'm hoping when we do this we might hear some kind of noise. Yes, I can hear movement. I can hear movement in the car. I can hear relays. That's great, that's good. All right, so we've got battery power back there. Now let's see if we've got anything here. Oh, we have lights on the dash. I can hear something happening as well. Okay. So we've got, obviously we're not going to be able to start the engine, but have we got anything else that works here? What about a horn? Woo! That scared me. That sounds amazing. That is proper Ferrari. Here we go, see if we got any lights. Oh, I can hear a relay. Okay. About over here, have we got anything here? Oh, 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 oh! Oh yeah! We have got aircon units. Now this thing always has problems, so that is amazing to see that this thing works. All right, amazingly we have got dash lights on. We've got all the aircon lights over here. This is working. This is super, super rare. We've got the horn, and what I haven't got, this is my pop-up lights here. That's not actually doing anything. So let's just take a look at the front of the car. See if we've got any lights at all on this thing. Now I have no idea the condition of that. Look, we've got a light over there. Maybe the bulb's gone on this one, but what I just noticed here, look at that, we've got actual light down there as well. So it's just, and there, look at that, you can see we've just got no pop-up on this one. Let's open up that front. A light in there. What's going on with this? I just don't, oh look, here we go. I just don't think it's all hooked up. Well, the motor doesn't seem to be, maybe they haven't hooked the motor up back. Yeah, it's down there, you can see. The motor is not hooked up. So, that's one there. And what about this one? Again, look at that. It's all there. They just haven't put the motor back on it, the connection, when they sprayed the car. So there you go. Yeah, you can see it's just been taken off down there. The arm is off. Amazing. So we got lights at the back. We've got a horn. We got dash lights. And let's see if we've got anything else back here. Have we got any lights back here? Can we see? Yeah, we got lights. Look at that. Lights on the car. Cool. And look at that, it's little things like just a door open light that are very pleasing when you're at this stage of a project. Okay, so the final thing I wanted to test, do we have any windows? No movement on the windows. Oh, a bit dirty there. Nah, nothing at all. So possibly we got fuses out. That wouldn't surprise me. Otherwise, I mean, I can't hear anything. Otherwise, we've got jam motors. So, but the fact that we've got all of this, and well, there we go. Look at that. It even dims. Amazing. So what that means is we've got power coming from the back of the car, the engine bay, down to the fuse board here, which is being distributed to these various components around the car. Now the other thing that we got here is two ECUs, engine ECUs, that sit on this firewall here. Now we know the engine is definitely not going to do anything, so let's go back there and have a look in the engine. All right, so we've had a bit of a result on the electrics on this car. We got some good stuff working. There are bits we are going to have to look a bit further into, but well, if I'm honest, that's a little bit of a shock. They're just putting the battery on, it all fired up straight away, so that's great. Now the money on this one really is here in the engine. Now we can see we've got a couple of bits missing. What I want to do right now is see the extent of what we have missing here. We need to then add it up and figure out really what the next move is on this 348. All of this can be tidied up, no problem. It's what we've got missing that is the concern here. So you can see this really has weathered quite badly, but I've seen these things and I've transformed these covers. You can make that look like new with a little bit of work. Now the nice thing with this is we've got so many components on this engine, it maybe looks like we have quite a lot missing, but we've got a lot of stuff here that is worth big money. These airflow meters, well, they're about, I think, between 750 to £1,000 used, because you can't get them new anymore. So we've got two of those for a start. I don't know why they're unhooked, but we've got those. We've got this manifold here, probably £2,000–3,000 worth. Look at this, we've got a heat shield here for the exhaust. Now I've never seen one like this. They are normally all frayed, falling apart. Airbox, that just needs a clean up, a spray. There is a lot of value here in the bits that you see. Now yes, they don't look pretty, but they will all clean up. However, let's see really what we have missing, how bad this engine is. So here's my plan. I have my scope cam here, and well, you can see yourselves on the screen there, and I'm gonna just have a look and see. It definitely looks like we've got no cams in here, so let's put the camera in and have a little fish around. Now this thing is really quite good. It's got a camera on the front and two on the side, so you can change the view. You can see in there, we definitely don't have any cams, do we? Look at that. What is the story with that? Pretty much everything else in there. Look at that, it's bloody very clear. Now you can see my valves. There's the valve. Look at that. And then if I change the angle on that, look how clear that is. There you go. Now we do have our plug leads, and we have plug leads hanging down here. But do we have any spark plugs in here? Let's have a look, shall we? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. That's quite a nice clear picture, isn't it? Okay, so we've got plugs in there. That's easy to show on camera. You can see we've got a light there. We've got a starter motor, but nothing is hooked up. So there is a big mystery with this car, why we have a lot of things missing. Obviously there's going to be no oil in there. But let's have a look at the state of things. Looks clean, everything's good. I've seen things like the oil pipe on the bottom of this. You know, worst case, all of that is worth big money. It's a complete pipe that runs from here all the way down the side of the car, all the way to the front there. All right, so we've got no cams, but we got plugs, we got leads. What I want to try and do now is take a look down the back of this engine and see if there's any clues, if we have down there a crank at the bottom. Have we got a bottom end to this one? If I go down here with the camera, you can see down the bottom there, that looks like the end of our crankshaft. So we've got a crankshaft in there, we've got no pulley on the end. That's where the wood rough key would go in. So that's down the bottom, that's a good sign. So it looks like we've got everything down there. Then we've got that. And then what's up here? If we pull it up a bit more, we've got a pulley up the top. It's very dirty, and a few cobwebs down there. We've got some cables. Well, that's quite a good sign. The problem is, how could I test that to turn that over? I don't know. We've got no bolt on the end of it. That's the issue. I can see that is missing. There is no bolt on the end. And I don't want to put a clamp on it because I'm probably going to wreck it. All right, so here is what I'm thinking. I'm going to go home. We're going to have a look at some of those parts we 100% have to replace on this. Things like the camshafts. See what the cost is, what the availability is. Most likely I'm going to have to put second-hand used parts in this one because it's the only way I could possibly keep this one on budget. Okay, so I've done some research and here are my findings. So currently this project owes me, with all the respray, about £30,000. Engine wise, I think if we start trying to replace all the cams, everything like that, we're going to open up a can of worms. It's going to end up costing more than to actually find a replacement engine. So currently I can find one about £7,500. A gearbox is around £5,000. Again, taking a gamble. We don't know if they are perfect. So we're looking at about 12,500 there, and then we're looking at some unknowns. There's going to be other things we're going to discover when we start doing all of this. So we don't know how much that is. So we're 12,500. So we're at 42,500 minimum at the moment, right? Maybe we can save a little bit off these prices, but we're looking over £40,000. Now here is the problem. There are currently cars that have sold recently in the last year for, one of them was less than 40,000, I guess about 40,000 with fees. The other one was about mid-40s. Now I think the ceiling on my car is maybe 40,000 if I'm lucky because of the history on this car. Now while I've been researching parts and making some phone calls, I spoke to a chap who made me an offer.
I'm going to make him an offer again with you.
And well, the offer was so tempting, I was maybe a little bit swayed. Here's what we're going to do. So the 348 is loaded, ready for its next destination, where you guys are going to find out what I've actually done with this car. As you can see from the sign in the background, I've done something a little bit controversial with this 348. So the plan was, I was going to finish off the car and really sell it to buy some parts for another secret project that you guys will see coming to the channel very shortly. But I decided, well, let's just cut to the chase. We came here, I did a deal with the main man James, and well, he's taken my 348 in exchange for some very, very expensive parts. And well, Tom, you might recognise from a video that we did here a couple of years ago when he kindly showed me around. He's going to explain what's going to happen to my lovely, freshly painted 348.
So this is going to go around to the breakage unit. It's got a fair few rare parts on it that are no longer available. The rear lights, the hit climate control switch, which we've got some people on already. But yeah, it's just going to be broken down for parts.
So my 348 is basically going to save other 348s that, you know, have a little bit of a smash up, or like you say, there's rare parts on these cars that you can no longer get from Ferrari. And so
keep recycling, keep going.
Recycle it?
Yeah.
So guys, basically, if you've got a 348, if you're buying a 348 and it hasn't quite got everything you need, or you got some broken parts, some rare bits, who do we speak to?
Speak to Euro Spares. Yeah.
Speak to Euro Spares. Now listen, I've got to say a massive thanks to Tom, massive thanks to James from Euro Spares for making this happen. We have got some very, very special parts in exchange for this. You can show those, Dave, yeah? We've got a couple on the back of the van here. My main man, Dave, he's obviously helped me with all of this, as usual. He's done, I think you've moved that car 3 times, haven't you?
Yeah, quite a few times.
So, this was not where we wanted to end up with this one, Dave, but we've done a great deal. Anyway, thank you very much for the guys at Euro Spares. Make sure you check them out. They are the world's biggest Ferrari, Lamborghini, Maserati, Porsche now,
Porsche,
Aston.
Any
more?
Get McLaren.
Maybe a bit of McLaren in as well. So they're the best in the world. And as I've always said, if you guys are in America, anywhere around the world, check it out, because it's actually often a lot cheaper to buy it from here, get it shipped, and it works out a lot cheaper than buying it in your countries. Anyway, thank you very much, mate. Cheers. Well guys, that is it for the Ferrari 348 project. The question is, have I done the right thing? Let me know your thoughts on that one in the comments below. Should I have just bought an engine, gearbox, finished off that project and sold it for more money? Or have I done the right thing with those numbers you saw on the board by cutting my losses and acquiring some very rare one-of-one parts for a very, very cool future project? You're gonna have to find out exactly what that complete car got me in terms of parts. Trust me, it's not a lot. 2 big boxes and 4 small boxes is all it got. Anyway guys, hope you enjoyed the series. I will see you all very shortly in the next one. Make sure you check out what I get up to on a daily basis. Until the next time, stay safe and ciao for now.